There is a hidden danger in life that most never recognize until it has already consumed them. It is not poverty, nor sickness, nor failure. It is the peril of seeing what others do not see, of awakening to truths that the crowd cannot bear to face. For when a man or woman begins to see beneath appearances, when they pierce through the veil of custom and illusion, they step into a loneliness few can endure. They become a stranger in their own land, a voice crying in a wilderness of conformity. To see what others refuse to see is both a gift and a burden. It grants you power, but it also makes you a target. And tonight I tell you, if you dare to see, you must also dare to stand alone. The masses live by suggestion. They accept without questioning the limitations handed down by family, society, and tradition. They move like sheep in a pasture, content to graze where they are led. But when you see beyond the fence, when you recognize that the boundaries are illusions created by belief, you awaken to a power that unsettles those around you. They will call you arrogant. They will call you mad. They will tell you it is dangerous to think differently. But the real danger is to never think at all. The subconscious mind obeys whatever images it is impressed with, and most men allow the world to impress it with fear, with doubt, with mediocrity. But you, if you dare to see, must take the pen into your own hand and write new commands upon the tablet of your soul. I remember a young man who came to me troubled because he felt out of place. He said, "Everyone around me seems content to drift, to accept little, to complain but never to change. But I feel restless, as though something in me sees beyond what they see." I told him that restlessness is the voice of the infinite within, urging you not to conform to the shadows, but to claim the light. Do not fear it. Do not suppress it. For the price of seeing is solitude, but the reward of seeing is freedom. He obeyed. He affirmed daily, "I am guided by divine intelligence. I see truth where others see illusion. I walk in freedom though others remain in chains." And soon his life shifted. He broke from the herd, and the very ones who mocked him began to seek his counsel. Such is the paradox of vision. First they resist you, then they follow you. The subconscious mind is impartial. It does not care whether you accept the lies of the crowd or the truth of the infinite. It only reflects what you feed it. Most people feed it the stale bread of collective fear. They say it cannot be done, it is too late, it is impossible, and the subconscious, obedient, produces conditions to match. But the one who dares to see differently feeds the subconscious a new seed. He says, "I am one with infinite intelligence." The law of life is the law of belief. I choose faith, I choose abundance, I choose wisdom. And the subconscious faithful servant brings forth conditions of faith, abundance, and wisdom. The law is not partial to crowds. It responds to conviction. One man with belief can outweigh 1,000 without it. Yet beware, for seeing what others do not see makes you dangerous in their eyes. When you expose illusions, you threaten the comfort of the blind. When you speak truth, you unsettle those married to lies. And so they will mock you, resist you, even persecute you. But do not yield, for their resistance is only proof that you have touched the nerve of truth. The subconscious is like soil. It grows whatever is planted, weeds or wheat. Society plants weeds daily. You must plant wheat. And when your harvest rises high, those who laughed at you will come asking for bread. The danger is not in their rejection, but in your temptation to return to blindness just to be accepted. Resist this. Better to walk alone in truth than to be embraced in illusion. A man once told me he had visions of great invention, ideas far beyond his peers. They called him eccentric, dismissed him as a dreamer, but he persisted, impressing his subconscious with the image of success, repeating night after night, "I am guided by infinite intelligence. My ideas flow with divine order. My creations bless the world." In time, his inventions changed industries, and those who mocked him praised him. What changed? Not the crowd, but the seed he planted within. For the subconscious, once convinced, draws all forces of life to fulfill its command. The crowd follows later, but the seer walks ahead, alone at first, guided only by conviction. Understand this: to see what others do not see is to carry a cross of solitude, but it is also to wear a crown of authority. The crowd lives in fear, enslaved by appearances. The seer lives in faith, guided by the unseen. The danger is real: mockery, rejection, misunderstanding. But the reward is greater: freedom, power, destiny. You must choose. Will you close your eyes and walk with the herd, or will you open them and walk alone? The subconscious will build either path you choose. Say to yourself now as a decree, I am not afraid to see. I am not afraid to walk alone. I am guided, protected, and sustained by infinite intelligence. Let these words sink deep, for they are the foundation of freedom. Your subconscious cannot resist conviction. It will shape the world to fit the image you hold. Therefore, dare to hold an image higher than the crowds. Dare to believe in abundance when others believe in lack. Dare to affirm health when others surrender to sickness. Dare to walk in faith when others bow to fear. And soon your light will shine as a light among them. They will resist, but they will also recognize. They will mock, but they will also admire. For truth cannot be hidden, and belief cannot be buried. What you impress must be expressed, and no multitude can stop it. So let us seal this moment with a living affirmation. Say it aloud, write it down, whisper it in your soul. I am one with infinite wisdom. I see truth where others see illusion. I am free. I am fearless. I am divinely guided. I will not bow to the blindness of the crowd, for the law of life is the law of belief, and I believe in freedom, abundance, and wisdom now. Let it sink deep, engrave it on the tablet of your subconscious, and let tomorrow reveal the fruit of tonight's conviction. The world you see is not the world as it is, but the world as you believe it to be. 10 men may walk down the same street, and each sees a different city, because each carries within his subconscious a different lens. One sees opportunity, another sees danger. One feels joy, another feels despair. And yet the street is the same. What differs is the image impressed within, the secret film projected outward. To see what others do not see is to awaken to this truth. Life is never objective. It is always a mirror. The danger lies in forgetting this and believing that outer conditions are fixed, when in reality they are shadows of your own belief. If you wish to change the shadow, you must change the light within. Most men live in bondage to appearances. They say, I will believe in abundance when I see it. I will trust in health when I feel it. I will know peace when my circumstances allow. But the law of life is not built on seeing then believing. It is built on believing then seeing. The subconscious accepts belief first, and the outer world obeys after. If you reverse this order, you remain a prisoner of appearances, never escaping the circle of doubt. But when you dare to impress conviction before evidence, the evidence must come. Faith is the cause, appearances are the effect. Say it to yourself. Write it upon paper. Faith first, evidence after. This is the law, and it cannot be broken. A man once told me he was cursed with constant failure. Every venture collapsed. Every effort seemed doomed. I asked him what picture he held inwardly. He admitted, I always imagine myself failing. I see myself rejected. I expect loss. And so his subconscious, obedient, arranged conditions to match. I told him, change the picture. Fall asleep nightly, seeing yourself victorious, feeling success, affirming with conviction. Infinite intelligence prospers all I do. Success is mine now. At first he resisted, for his eyes saw only failure. But persistence convinced the subconscious, and in time his venture succeeded. He said to me later, the world looks different, but it was not the world that had changed. It was his vision. He dared to see what others did not, and life reflected it. Here lies the hidden danger. When you see differently, you unsettle those who are enslaved by appearances. They will cling to the visible, mock the invisible, and condemn the man who believes before he sees. They cannot accept that the world is plastic to thought, that the subconscious bends reality according to conviction. So they defend their chains, and when you show them the key, they call you a liar. But do not yield to their blindness. If you believe with conviction, your subconscious will build the path, even if no one else can see it yet. The law is not democratic. It does not wait for the crowd's approval. It obeys belief alone. The subconscious is the silent engine of destiny. It does not judge whether your belief is noble or ignoble, wise or foolish. It only accepts and expresses. This is both the danger and the glory. If you impress fear, it will express fear. If you impress faith, it will express faith. If you impress visions beyond the understanding of others, it will build them faithfully in your life. And when those visions manifest, the same crowd that mocked you will call you a visionary. They will say you were lucky. or blessed or chosen. But you will know the truth. You simply impressed a different seed, and the subconscious expressed it by law. What is impressed is expressed, engrave it upon your heart. One young woman once desired to rise above the small life her peers accepted. She saw herself traveling, prospering, living richly. They laughed at her, told her it was impossible, mocked her dreams, but she refused their suggestion. She affirmed nightly, I am a free-flowing channel of divine abundance. I see life as boundless, and life mirrors my vision. In time, opportunities came, resources appeared, doors opened. She stepped into a life far beyond her peers. They said, how did this happen? But she had already seen what they refused to see. The subconscious had accepted her vision, and the world had no choice but to comply. This is the law, and the law cannot fail. Do not underestimate the pressure of the crowd. To see what others do not see is to walk a narrow path. The herd will try to pull you back, to shame you into blindness. They will say, be realistic, be ordinary, stay with us. But realism is only the prison of those who cannot imagine. Ordinary is only the name given by the fearful to the miracles they never dared attempt. If you bow to the crowd, you return to bondage. If you stand firm, you remain free. The subconscious will build whichever world you command, and the command is always belief. Therefore choose belief over appearances, conviction over conformity, vision over blindness. The scriptures say, judge not according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is the act of seeing beyond the surface, of perceiving the unseen law at work. It is the refusal to be hypnotized by circumstance. When you practice this, the world calls you strange, but the world has always mocked the seer until the seer's vision becomes the world's reality. The danger is ridicule, the reward is creation. You must decide which you value more, the comfort of the crowd or the power of truth. But remember this, the subconscious respects only one thing, belief, and what you believe it will express. So let us impress a vision, higher than the crowds tonight. Say with me, not as empty words, but as command. I am not bound by appearances. I am not swayed by the blindness of others. I see truth. I believe truth. I live truth. Infinite intelligence guides me. Divine order governs me. Abundance flows to me now. Write it down. Whisper it as you drift into sleep. Let it sink deep into the soil of your subconscious. For tomorrow the harvest begins. And though the crowd may not see it yet, you will walk in the vision you impress tonight. To see what others do not see is to step into the secret place where destiny is shaped, for vision precedes manifestation. The multitude walks by sight, but the seer walks by faith. They cling to appearances as final, but you who see understand that appearances are only effects, and that the cause lies deeper in the subconscious mind, in the patterns of belief, in the convictions impressed night after night. This is the hidden architecture of life. Most men are blind masons, building unconsciously with the bricks of fear and resentment. The few who see become master builders, shaping with purpose, choosing their materials, constructing not prisons but palaces. Yet herein lies the danger. The palace you are building may stand in a wilderness where all others dwell in huts. They will not understand you. They will call your palace an illusion. But if you persist, they will one day walk through its doors and marvel at the reality you dared to create. I once counseled a man who suffered repeated illness. Doctors treated his body, but no cure lasted. I asked him what thoughts he entertained. He admitted, I always expect to fall ill. I imagine disease. I dwell on weakness. His subconscious, loyal and impartial, fulfilled his command. I told him to reverse it, to nightly affirm. The healing presence of God flows through me like a river. Every cell of my body responds in harmony. I am whole. He resisted at first, but gradually the conviction grew. In time his body responded. His health was restored, and he said to me, it feels as if a burden is lifted. It had, the burden of blindness. He had seen what others did not, that health is first a conviction before it is a condition. This is the law. Say it, engrave it, repeat it. Health is a conviction before it is a condition. The danger of seeing is not only in the loneliness of vision, but in the responsibility it demands. Once you see that your thoughts shape your life, you can never again plead ignorance. You can never again blame fate, heredity, or accident. You become responsible for your harvest because you know it springs from the seed you sow. The world prefers ignorance, for ignorance excuses, but sight demands accountability. To see is to admit, I am the architect of my destiny, and that is both liberating and terrifying. Yet it is the only true freedom, for when you see, you realize you can plant deliberately, affirm intentionally, and shape your life according to divine law. A young woman once came to me weary from rejection. She longed for companionship, yet every relationship failed. She said, "Why does this always happen to me?" I asked her what image she held of herself. She confessed, "I see myself as unworthy, unloved, destined to be alone." And her subconscious faithful servant expressed that image in her experiences. I told her, change the inner picture. Affirm, I am worthy of love. Divine harmony governs my relationships. I am cherished, valued, and embraced. See it, feel it, believe it. She obeyed, and soon her life shifted. A new circle of friendship emerged, and she later married a man who adored her. The danger was never the world, it was the blindness of her own belief. Once she saw differently, life obeyed. This is the peril and the promise. The subconscious does not question. It does not weigh right or wrong. It simply accepts and acts. If you impress fear, it expresses fear. If you impress love, it expresses love. The soil does not reject weeds. It grows them as readily as wheat. The choice is yours. Most men let weeds fall in by default. The few who see so carefully, deliberately, persistently. And though the weeds of fear may still try to sprout, they are uprooted by vigilance. The master of sight knows. The harvest reveals the seed, and the seed is always thought. But when you speak this truth aloud, the crowd resists. They say it cannot be so. We are victims of chance. They cling to their chains because chains excuse their failures. To tell them they are free is to rob them of their excuses, and so they will fight you. This is the danger of sight. You become unwelcome in the world of the blind. Yet you must persist, for truth does not bend to the blindness of the multitude. It remains law, and the law is this: what is impressed is expressed. Write it on paper. Speak it aloud. Whisper it in your soul until it becomes conviction. Consider Caruso again, trembling before the stage, paralyzed by fear. His conscious mind whispered, "You will fail." His subconscious, ready to obey, began to paralyze his throat. But he commanded boldly, "Caruso, get out here and sing." He impressed a new conviction, and the subconscious obeyed instantly. The voice flowed, the performance triumphed. What had changed? Not the stage, not the audience, but the belief impressed. This is the danger and the glory. The subconscious listens to your inner command, not the outer circumstance. And if you dare to see, if you dare to command rightly, you can shift destiny in a moment. But you must guard your vision. The subconscious accepts repetition as truth, and the crowd repeats fear daily. They will try to impress their blindness upon you. If you are careless, their seeds will fall into your soil, and you will reap their harvest. Therefore, be vigilant. Choose your companions, your conversations, your meditations. Feed your subconscious only with the vision you wish expressed. Do not let the weeds of the world choke your garden. Remember always, your vision is your destiny, and the danger of seeing is real, but so is the promise of creation. Seal this truth now with affirmation. Say with me with authority, I am the architect of my destiny. I impress only truth, harmony, and abundance upon my subconscious. I refuse the blindness of the crowd. I see, I believe, I create. Infinite intelligence guides me. Divine order sustains me, and my vision becomes reality now. Write it, repeat it, engrave it. For tonight you are impressing, and tomorrow you will be expressing. To see what others do not see is to step beyond the veil of appearances, and once that veil is lifted, you can never return to blindness. There is a danger in this sight, because the moment you recognize that life is molded from within, you can no longer console yourself with excuses. You know that fear has been your own creation, that failure has been your own planting, that resentment has been your own poison. The blind man blames the world. The seer must admit the world is his mirror, and this realization is heavy for those unprepared, for it strips away every hiding place. Yet it is also liberating, for once you accept that your thoughts shape your destiny, you hold in your hands the power to rebuild your life upon divine law. I once spoke to a man who carried the weight of bitterness for decades. His face was etched with resentment, his body broken by disease. He said, "Life has been cruel to me." But when I asked him what thoughts he entertained, he confessed, "I rehearse every betrayal. I curse those who wronged me. I nurse the bitterness daily." His subconscious, impartial and obedient, shaped his body and circumstances accordingly. I told him, "Release the poison. Affirm divine love dissolves everything, unlike itself. I am free, I forgive, I am healed." He resisted, but eventually obeyed, repeating it with conviction. Slowly the bitterness lifted, his health improved, his face softened, and peace returned. What had changed? Not life itself, but his vision. He stopped seeing cruelty and began seeing harmony. And life, faithful mirror, reflected his new sight. This is the law. Every thought impressed upon the subconscious is expressed in the conditions of life. The masses ignore this, so they live in bondage to appearances, repeating the same mistakes, wondering why the same results follow. But you who see cannot plead ignorance. You must take responsibility for your inner conversation. For every "I am" you declare is a command to your subconscious. If you say, "I am weak," weakness must appear. If you say, "I am strong," strength must appear. The subconscious does not argue, it executes. Therefore, guard your speech, both outward and inward. Let your "I am" always be noble, always aligned with the truth you wish expressed. The danger lies also in the solitude of vision. When you see what others do not, you walk a lonely path. They will not understand why you refuse to dwell on sickness, why you reject gossip, why you affirm abundance when they complain of lack. They will mock your affirmations, laugh at your declarations, scorn your faith, yet do not yield, for their blindness does not alter the law. If you persist, the very ones who scorned you will later marvel at your harvest. They will say you were lucky, but you will know the truth. You planted different seeds, and you reaped a different harvest. I recall a young woman plagued by fear. She was certain disaster followed her, and she lived in constant anxiety. Friends told her to be realistic, and she accepted their suggestion, feeding her subconscious with images of failure. And failure came. I taught her to change her nightly ritual. Instead of rehearsing fears, she was to affirm, "I am safe, I am protected, divine order governs my life." At first it felt unnatural, but repetition carved a new groove, and her subconscious accepted the new belief. Within months her fears dissolved, her life stabilized, and she moved forward with confidence. She dared to see safety where others saw danger, and life obeyed. This is the danger of sight. You separate yourself from the fearful herd, but it is also the reward. You walk in freedom. The subconscious is like soil, and society scatters seeds of fear daily. If you do not guard your field, weeds will grow. Newspapers, conversations, gossip, all of these plant suggestion into the mind. The crowd lives by those suggestions, never questioning, never choosing. But the seer chooses. He says, "No weeds in my field. I plant only seeds of faith, love, harmony, abundance." And though the world mocks his careful sowing, his harvest is sure. What is impressed is expressed. Say it now, let it sink. What is impressed is expressed. Write it on paper, whisper it to your soul, guard it as a law that governs kings and beggars alike. There was once a singer tormented by stage fright, his body frozen by fear. His conscious mind whispered, "You will fail." But he shouted inwardly, "Caruso, sing." And the subconscious obeyed, dissolving the fear, releasing the voice. This principle holds for you as well. When fear whispers, command boldly, "I am strong, I am calm, I am victorious." When doubt mocks, declare, "I am guided by infinite intelligence. Success flows to me now." Do not beg, command, for the subconscious is your servant, and servants obey orders. The danger lies only in forgetting your authority. Remember, too, that vision requires persistence. One declaration may not overturn years of fear, but repetition is power. Just as water dripping on stone carves it in time, so affirmations repeated with feeling carve conviction into the subconscious. Persistence overcomes resistance. The crowd may not see results, but you know the law, and you know the harvest must follow the seed. Therefore be relentless. Guard your speech, guard your thought. Repeat your affirmations until they become your conviction. And once conviction is born, Manifestation cannot be stopped. Seal this truth tonight with affirmation. Say aloud with authority, I am fearless, I am free, I am divinely guided. I refuse the blindness of the crowd. I plant only seeds of abundance, harmony, and love. Infinite intelligence governs me. Divine order sustains me, and my vision becomes flesh now. Write it down. Whisper it before sleep. Let it sink into the soil of your subconscious. For tomorrow the harvest begins, and the harvest always matches the seed. To see what others do not see is to live in two worlds at once. The world of appearances, where the multitude dwells, and the world of causes, where destiny is truly shaped. The crowd looks only at effects. They see poverty, sickness, failure, and believe these are realities in themselves. But the seer looks beneath, and knows these are but shadows cast by inner beliefs, impressed upon the subconscious mind. He knows that every effect is preceded by a cause, and that cause is thought, wrapped in feeling, impressed with repetition. To see this is dangerous, for it strips away illusions, and many prefer the comfort of illusion over the burden of truth. Yet if you persist in this sight, you hold the keys to freedom, while the blind remain chained to appearances. A man once told me he was forever unlucky, that every venture failed, every opportunity slipped away. He insisted the world was against him. But when I questioned his inner speech, he admitted, I always expect things to go wrong. I picture failure before I begin. I feel cursed. His subconscious, impartial and obedient, accepted that impression and produced a harvest of failure. I told him, reverse the pattern. Night after night, fall asleep, affirming, I am guided by infinite intelligence. Success attends me in all that I do. Divine order governs my affairs. He obeyed, and though at first it felt false, repetition turned the seed into conviction. Soon his ventures prospered. Opportunities multiplied, and his life turned. What had changed? Only what he saw within. The danger was never in faith, it was in his blindness to the law. Here lies the paradox. When you begin to see differently, when you refuse to dwell on fear and affirm abundance, those around you may call you foolish. They may scorn your affirmations, mock your vision, and warn you to face reality. But what they call reality is only the harvest of their own fear. They mistake the effect for the cause. You who see know that reality is shaped from within, that the subconscious creates according to belief. To follow their counsel would be to return to blindness. The danger is their ridicule. The reward is your freedom. Choose freedom, though it means walking alone. Consider also the story of a woman who longed for companionship, yet remained alone. She prayed, but her prayers were filled with fear. She told herself nightly, I am unwanted, unloved, forgotten. Her subconscious, hearing the heart rather than the lips, expressed loneliness. I instructed her to replace her nightly ritual with this affirmation, Divine love surrounds me. I am cherished, valued, and embraced. Harmony governs my relationships. At first she resisted, for it felt untrue, but she persisted until her subconscious accepted it, and soon her life was filled with new friendships, and later with a husband who adored her. The danger had been her own blindness, the refusal to see herself as worthy. The moment she saw differently, life followed. The subconscious does not distinguish between true and false, real and imagined. It accepts as real whatever you vividly impress upon it. This is why imagination is the workshop of destiny. If you imagine disaster, disaster comes. If you imagine success, success appears. The crowd uses imagination unconsciously, filling it with fear. The seer uses imagination deliberately, filling it with faith. And when the vision becomes conviction, the world must bend to it. This is law. Say it, write it, engrave it. What I imagine with conviction, my subconscious will express. There is also a danger in partial sight. Some glimpse the truth that thought shapes destiny, but they use it for fear instead of faith. They imagine calamity, they dwell on disaster, they rehearse loss. Their subconscious, impartial, expresses it faithfully. This is why sight must be disciplined. To see without control is torment. To see with mastery is freedom. Therefore, train your sight. Refuse to linger on images of defeat. Replace them instantly with images of victory. Do not feed the subconscious poison and then curse the harvest. Feed it life, and it will bless you. I recall a young student terrified of examinations. She always pictured herself failing, trembling, forgetting. Her subconscious loyal servant fulfilled her image. I taught her to reverse it. Each night she affirmed, "My mind is clear. I am confident. Divine intelligence flows through me. Success is mine." She imagined herself answering calmly, receiving high marks. The subconscious accepted the new vision, and success followed. What changed? Only the image. The crowd calls it chance, but you who see know it is law. This is why vigilance is essential. Every conversation, every book, every thought is a seed. If you allow others to sow weeds of fear, you will reap their harvest. Guard your mind as you guard your home. Do not let thieves of faith enter. Choose your companions, your speech, your meditations. The subconscious accepts suggestion constantly. Choose wisely what you permit, for what you permit becomes your destiny. The danger is neglect, the reward is mastery. Now let us seal this truth with affirmation. Say it aloud with authority. I am the master of my inner sight. I imagine only truth, harmony, abundance, and peace. My subconscious is my faithful servant, and I command it with faith. Infinite intelligence guides me. Divine love surrounds me, and success is mine now. Write it, whisper it, impress it. For tonight you are planting, and tomorrow the harvest must appear. To see what others do not see is to awaken to the silent law shaping every breath of existence. And this awakening comes with both blessing and burden. For once your eyes are open to the truth that thought is cause and life is effect, you can never again live as though you were helpless. You know now that the subconscious is the engine of destiny, that every conviction impressed upon it becomes flesh in your world. The blind will still blame chance, accuse fate, and curse fortune. But you who see must carry the weight of knowledge. You are the architect, and your thoughts are the blueprints. The danger is that with sight comes responsibility, and responsibility frightens those who would rather remain asleep. Yet if you embrace it, responsibility becomes power, and power becomes freedom. A man once confessed to me that he could not escape debt. No matter how much he earned, bills multiplied, creditors pursued, and he felt enslaved. I asked him what picture he carried of himself. He said, "I see myself always behind, always short, always scrambling." His subconscious, obedient as ever, simply fulfilled the command. I told him, "Change the picture. Affirm nightly, I am supplied by infinite source. Abundance flows to me freely. I am prosperous now." He resisted, for his senses screamed poverty, but he persisted until conviction took root. Soon opportunities appeared, debts dissolved, and prosperity flowed. What had changed? Only what he saw within. The outer followed as shadow follows substance. This is law. Say it now. The outer follows the inner as shadow follows substance. Yet this sight carries danger. For when you begin to prosper while others cling to lack, they will envy you, suspect you, or scorn you. They will not see the law you obey. They will accuse you of luck or trickery. But do not let their blindness dim your vision. The subconscious does not bow to the crowd. It answers only belief. Persist, and your prosperity will stand as witness, though others remain bound by fear. Better to be envied in freedom than pitied in bondage. There was once a woman diagnosed with a grave illness. Physicians gave her no hope. She wept, but then she remembered the law. Night after night she affirmed, "The healing presence of God flows through me now. Every cell responds to harmony. I am whole." She pictured herself walking strong, radiant with light. Her subconscious accepted the image, and in time her body conformed. When she returned to her physicians, they were astonished. But to her it was no miracle, only the outworking of belief. What had been impressed had been expressed. To see this truth is to step into a power greater than medicine, greater than circumstance, greater than despair. But it is also to invite misunderstanding, for the blind will mock what they cannot explain. The subconscious does not measure difficulty. It does not say, "This is too great, this is too small." It treats a button and a fortune the same. It treats a cough and a cancer alike. The only measure is belief. If you believe, it will be done unto you. If you doubt, it will not. This is both danger and promise. For if you believe in fear, fear becomes flesh. If you believe in failure, failure becomes fact. But if you believe in health, health appears. If you believe in abundance, abundance flows. The law cannot be mocked. The harvest always matches the seed. Do not think this sight will make life easier at first. It will make life clearer, and clarity is a heavy weight for those accustomed to shadows. You will see fear where others see normalcy. You will see bondage where others see tradition. You will see chains where others see comfort. This is the danger of seeing. You lose the bliss of ignorance, but you gain the power of truth. And truth, though it isolates you, will also set you free. One student told me she was haunted by failure. Every examination left her trembling. Every effort collapsed. I asked her what she affirmed inwardly. She admitted, "I always say to myself, I will fail." Her subconscious, hearing only the decree, obeyed. I instructed her to replace it with, "I am calm, I am confident, divine intelligence flows through me, success is mine now." She obeyed, repeating it nightly, picturing herself passing with ease. Soon she did. Her fear dissolved, her confidence grew, and her results changed. Was it chance? No, it was law. What she impressed, she expressed. The danger had been her blindness. The salvation was her sight. This is why I urge you to guard your vision with vigilance. Every conversation, every thought, every emotion is a seed. Do not let weeds of fear planted by others root in your soil. The subconscious accepts suggestion constantly. If you are careless, the world will plant its poison in your garden. If you are vigilant, you will plant truth, harmony, and abundance, and the harvest will reveal your choice. The danger is neglect, the promise is mastery. Seal this lesson now with affirmation. Say with me, not as idle words, but as decree. I am the architect of my destiny. I impress my subconscious only with truth, harmony, abundance, and peace. Infinite intelligence guides me, divine love surrounds me, and prosperity flows to me now. Write it, whisper it, engrave it. For tonight you plant, and tomorrow you will walk among the fruit of your own belief. To see what others do not see is to recognize the silent currents that move beneath the surface of events. The blind believe life is random, that fortune and misfortune arrive without cause. But you who see know that nothing is random, that every condition flows from the impressions upon the subconscious mind. This vision grants you freedom, but it also sets you apart. For when you tell the crowd that their suffering is not imposed by fate but cultivated in thought, they will hate you for disturbing their sleep. They will call you cruel, for you have stripped them of excuses. But better to offend them with truth than to console them with lies. The danger of sight is the burden of truth, and the burden of truth is that it reveals to you how much of life is self-created. A young man once told me he was destined to repeat the failures of his father. He said, "It is in my blood. Everyone in my family struggles. But heredity is not destiny. Belief is." I asked him what he affirmed to himself, and he admitted, "I always say I will never escape this curse." His subconscious, obedient and impartial, fulfilled the decree. I taught him to affirm instead, "I am free from every limitation of the past. The power of the infinite flows through me now. I am prosperous, healthy, and free." He repeated it night and day until conviction replaced doubt. Within months he secured opportunities his family never dreamed possible. The curse was never in his blood, it was in his belief. And once he saw this truth, the curse was broken. This is why sight is dangerous, for it tears away the comfort of blaming others. The blind say it is society's fault, my parents' fault, fate's fault. But the seer knows, my life is the mirror of my belief. What I impress is expressed. This truth is liberating, yet it is also heavy. For if your world is unpleasant, you must admit it was your own subconscious planting that produced it. The law is mercilessly just. It does not excuse ignorance. It does not pardon carelessness. It expresses whatever is impressed. And once you see this, you can no longer return to ignorance. You must plant deliberately, or you will suffer the harvest of neglect. I recall a woman tormented by envy. She confessed that every time she saw another prosper, she muttered inwardly, "Why not me? Life is unfair." Her subconscious, receiving envy as her constant seed, produced bitterness and lack. I told her, reverse it. Each time you see another blessed, affirm, "I rejoice in the blessings of others, for they show me what is possible for me. Divine abundance flows to me now." She obeyed, and gradually her bitterness dissolved. Soon she prospered herself. What had changed? She stopped planting weeds and began planting wheat. She stopped seeing unfairness and began seeing possibility. And her subconscious, obedient as ever, expressed the new conviction. This is the true danger of sight. You can no longer pretend. You can no longer mutter curses and expect blessings. You can no longer dwell on fear and expect safety. The subconscious listens always, records always, and obeys always. To see this is to become accountable for every idle word, every hidden thought, every silent resentment. But accountability is power. For once you accept that you are the sower, you can sow anew. And the moment you sow rightly, the harvest must change. There was a student plagued by stage fright. Before every performance, her inner voice cried, "I will fail, I will forget." And the subconscious fulfilled the script. I instructed her to write a new script. I am calm, confident, and free. Divine intelligence speaks through me. She repeated it nightly, picturing herself speaking with ease. Soon the fear dissolved, and she performed with brilliance. The stage had not changed, the script had. This is the law. Say it now, engrave it. Change the script within, and the stage without must change. But beware, for when you begin to live by this sight, you will not only transform your own life, you will expose the blindness of others. They will resist you, for they do not want to see that they are the cause of their own misery. They prefer to believe in accidents, curses, or luck. When you tell them that belief is destiny, they will argue, but let their blindness be their prison. You must remain faithful to sight, for the law is not swayed by opinion. It answers only belief. The scriptures say, "According to your faith be it unto you." This is not poetry, it is law. Faith is not wishing, it is conviction. And conviction is born of repetition, imagination, and feeling. The subconscious accepts faith as fact and expresses it in form. This is the hidden architecture of reality. To see it is to wield the pen of destiny. To ignore it is to remain a victim. Which will you choose? Sight demands courage, but blindness demands change. So let us seal this truth with affirmation. Say with me, I am free from every chain of the past. I impress only faith, love, abundance, and harmony upon my subconscious. I see truth where others see illusion. Infinite intelligence guides me, divine order sustains me, and my destiny is secure. Write it down. Whisper it in the silence of night. For what you impress now must be expressed, and tomorrow will reveal the fruit of tonight's vision. To see what others do not see is to step into a realm of vision that feels both liberating and dangerous. You begin to recognize that the world is not fixed, not rigid, but fluid, malleable to the convictions impressed upon the subconscious mind. The blind believe life is immovable stone, but you who see know it is clay, waiting for the hand of belief to mold it. Yet this vision isolates you, for while you know appearances are effects, the crowd clings to them as causes. They will tell you that you are foolish to believe in unseen realities, but the law does not ask for their permission. It answers only your conviction, and your conviction, once impressed, becomes destiny. I once knew a man who trembled with fear every night. Certain calamity awaited him in the morning. He rehearsed disaster in his imagination, and his subconscious faithfully expressed it in his affairs. He lived in constant anxiety, and the world mirrored his dread. I told him, "You are seeing what others do not, but you are seeing wrongly. You are using sight against yourself. Reverse it. Picture peace, affirm safety, declare harmony." He resisted, for fear had become his habit. But with persistence he changed the picture. Night after night he whispered, "I am safe, I am protected, divine order governs my life." In time, fear gave way to peace, and his life stabilized. The danger had been his misuse of vision. The reward was in learning to see rightly. This is why sight must be disciplined. To see without control is torment, but to see with mastery is freedom. The subconscious is impartial. It does not say, "This belief is noble, this one is dangerous." It accepts all impressions as law, and expresses them without hesitation. This is both the peril and the promise. If you imagine fear, fear becomes flesh. If you imagine love, love becomes life. If you imagine failure, failure arrives. If you imagine success, success manifests. The soil grows whatever seed is planted, whether it be wheat or weeds. The choice is always yours. A woman once told me she prayed for peace. Yet every day she repeated, "My home is chaos, my family is hopeless." Her subconscious, hearing her inner decree, expressed discord. I told her, cease affirming the chaos. Begin to affirm harmony, even if your eyes see otherwise. Say, divine love fills this house. Peace reigns here. Harmony governs every heart. She obeyed, and though at first her senses mocked her, repetition forged conviction. Slowly her home softened, conflicts dissolved, and her family reflected the new belief. She had dared to see peace where others saw discord, and the law rewarded her courage. This is the danger of seeing. Once your vision opens, you cannot blame fate for your misery. You must admit, I created this by my belief. And this admission strips away the luxury of self-pity. Yet in the same breath it empowers you to say, I can create anew by changing belief. This is responsibility, and responsibility frightens the blind. They prefer to drift with appearances, even if appearances bind them. But you who see must take command. You must plant deliberately, affirm boldly, and persist until conviction becomes reality. A student of mine once feared examinations so deeply that failure seemed inevitable. She admitted she always pictured herself forgetting, trembling, and faltering. I instructed her to replace the image with one of calm success. Each night she affirmed, I am calm, I am clear, divine intelligence flows through me. Success is mine now. She imagined herself writing with ease, receiving high marks. Soon her fear dissolved and success followed. What had changed? Not the exam, not the questions, but the script she impressed upon her subconscious. The stage obeyed the inner script. Say it now and let it sink. Change the script within, and the stage without must change. You must also learn to protect your vision from contamination. The world is filled with suggestion, and if you are careless, the blind will impress their fear upon your mind. Guard your inner sight as a king guards his crown. Refuse to repeat their complaints, refuse to absorb their doubts, refuse to see through their eyes. Your subconscious listens always, and every suggestion permitted becomes seed. If you wish to walk as a seer, you must be vigilant. You must choose your speech, your companions, your meditations with deliberate care. The scriptures say, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. The heart in this context is the subconscious, the seat of belief. Guard it from weeds, and it will yield harvests of gold. Neglect it, and weeds will choke your joy. The danger of seeing is the responsibility of guarding. The reward of seeing is the certainty of harvest. For once the subconscious accepts a seed, expression is inevitable. The only question is, what seed have you sown? Let us seal this sight tonight with affirmation. Say it with conviction. I am not blinded by appearances. I see truth where others see illusion. I impress peace, abundance, and harmony upon my subconscious, and life expresses them now. Infinite intelligence guides me, divine love sustains me, and success flows to me freely. Write it, whisper it, engrave it, for the law is faithful, and tomorrow will reveal what you dare to see tonight. To see what others do not see is to awaken to the principle that life is not happening to you but through you. Every event, every condition, every circumstance is the echo of a belief impressed upon the subconscious mind. The blind call it accident, the ignorant call it fate, but the seer knows it is law. And this law is mercilessly just, for it grants you not what you wish, but what you believe. This sight is both dangerous and liberating, for once you know the truth, you can no longer cling to excuses. You must admit that your outer world is the reflection of your inner state, and if you would change the reflection, you must change the image impressed within. A man once told me he could never succeed, that every effort crumbled. I asked him what he saw inwardly, and he replied, I see myself failing before I begin. His subconscious loyal servant accepted the image and fulfilled it. I instructed him, reverse it. Each night affirm, I am guided by infinite intelligence. Success is mine now. Divine order governs my affairs. Picture yourself achieving, feel the thrill of victory. At first his senses mocked him, but persistence carved conviction, and soon his life turned. Opportunities opened, ventures prospered, and he marveled at his transformation. The crowd called it chance, but the truth was simple. He dared to see success where before he had seen failure. What he impressed, he expressed. This is the hidden peril of sight. You recognize that belief is destiny. You can no longer blame fortune, no longer accuse fate. You must stand face to face with your own thoughts and admit, these are my harvests. Yet this peril is also the key to freedom. For if your thoughts have chained you, your thoughts can also liberate you. The same law that bound you to failure can bind you to success. The same subconscious that produced sickness can produce health. The same soil that grew weeds can grow roses. The law does not change, only the seed does. And you, now awake, must choose the seed deliberately. A woman once confessed to me that her life was poisoned by resentment. Every wrong done to her she repeated in her mind, and bitterness consumed her. Her body ached, her spirit was restless, her days were heavy. I told her, release it. Affirm instead. Divine love dissolves everything unlike itself. I am free, I forgive, I am healed. She resisted, for resentment had become her companion. But repetition turned her heart, and in time her body and life followed. Health returned, peace entered, harmony surrounded her. She had dared to see love where before she had seen hatred, and the law expressed her new vision. This is why I tell you, sight must be guarded. To see what others do not is to walk with responsibility heavier than gold. Every idle word, every whispered complaint, every silent fear is a seed. The subconscious records all, impartial, unresisting, obedient. If you speak defeat, defeat comes. If you speak victory, victory comes. If you dwell on fear, fear grows. If you dwell on faith, faith blossoms. The danger is neglect, for neglect sows weeds unconsciously, but the promise is mastery, for deliberate sowing yields harvests beyond imagination. The crowd does not want this responsibility. They prefer blindness, for blindness allows blame. But you who see must bear the burden. You cannot return to ignorance, for ignorance will no longer console you. You must walk as a seer, planting with care, affirming with authority, persisting until conviction is born. And once conviction is born, expression is inevitable. The law cannot fail. The soil does not lie. The harvest always matches the seed. I once knew a student who trembled at public speaking. Each time he said to himself, I will forget, I will stumble, I will fail. And his subconscious obeyed. I told him to write a new decree. I am calm, confident, and clear. Divine intelligence speaks through me. He practiced nightly, picturing himself standing tall, speaking with ease. Soon the fear vanished, and his words flowed with power. The audience marveled, but he knew the truth. He had simply changed the script within, and the stage without followed. This is the essence of sight, to know that the inner script governs the outer scene. And yet be warned, when you see differently, you will be misunderstood. The blind will say you are naive. They will laugh at your affirmations, scorn your visions, and call you unrealistic. But their blindness does not change the law. If you persist, your life will stand as proof, and even the blind will be forced to admit the reality of your vision. The danger is in their ridicule. The triumph is in your harvest. Stand firm, and let the results speak louder than their laughter. Seal this truth now with affirmation. Say it, not as idle phrase, but as decree. I am the master of my vision. I impress only faith, harmony, and abundance upon my subconscious. I refuse the blindness of the crowd. Infinite intelligence guides me, divine love surrounds me, and success flows through me now. Write it, whisper it, feel it, until it becomes conviction. For tonight you are impressing, and tomorrow life will be expressing. If you have listened this far, it is because something within you is already awake. You would not remain if your soul had not recognized its own reflection in these words. To see what others do not see is not easy, but you are not here for ease, you are here for truth. The crowd may never understand you, they may resist you, ridicule you, even abandon you. But what does it matter? To abandon truth is to abandon yourself, and to cling to blindness is to live half a life. You were not created to crawl with the herd. You were created to walk with vision. The subconscious mind, faithful servant, will not betray you. It listens still, even now, waiting for the command you will give it. Will you feed it fear as the blind do? or will you feed it faith, as the seer must? The choice is yours, and the harvest will be yours as well. Remember always, what is impressed is expressed. Say it aloud, write it on paper, engrave it on your heart. For this is the law of life, and the law cannot fail. And now I ask you, are you ready to walk the narrow path? Are you ready to endure misunderstanding, rejection, even loneliness, in order to live as a master instead of a prisoner? Are you willing to see even when others refuse? If so, then speak now to your own soul. I am fearless, I am free, I am divinely guided. I see what others do not, and I will not return to blindness. The world belongs to those who see. The future belongs to those who believe. The harvest belongs to those who plant. You have heard the truth. You have felt its weight. You have glimpsed the power within. Now the question remains, will you dare to use it?